Guess who's coming to sauna? Heki lunta. Guess who's coming to sauna?
So hello everyone, I am Eero, and who do I have here with me today?
Hey Eero, it's Sam again with the Upper Bench, and we've got a great guest here today that I'm going to let Risto introduce.
Hi, I'm Risto or Christopher, and it's a pleasure to be joined on this episode by Emma over in the UK, and she's publishing or published a new sauna book that we'd like to talk about and learn more about her sauna story.
Welcome, Emma.
So Emma, tell about yourself, please.
So, I'm a journalist based in London, and I go to Scandinavia quite often on assignment because I mainly work for Wallpaper magazine, and we do a lot of stories there. And I first came across proper sauna in Finland in 2016 on an island called Saavasalo, and I was doing a story for Wallpaper, and at the end of the job, we all jumped in a sauna with had some beers outside, jumped in a lake, back in the sauna, and I thought, wow, this is something I've never seen before, and this is really good fun. So I got in touch with a photographer called Maija Astikainen, who's based in Helsinki, who I didn't know. Together I said, let's try and do a sauna book. It would be really good fun to do a kind of art book, really, like the cabin porn book that was a big hit. It was an American book originally, I think. And so she shot some saunas around Helsinki, and I wrote some proposals, and we got rejection after rejection. And then we gave up on the whole idea. And then in 2019, Finland got its UNESCO listing. Sauna culture was placed on the list of intangible cultural heritage practices. And we wrote a piece, and then we got commissioned to write the book on the back of that, and on the back of the pandemic, really, because one of the editors said, I like the sauna book idea, but can we write it about the health benefits of sauna? So actually it went from being a kind of art coffee table book to having more substance and being about health and the cultural practices which vary from country to country. So yeah, that's what happened.
So that first sauna, was that shocking to you? Were there any elements of that you weren't sure at first? When did it go from, oh, that's interesting, to I love this, I want to write a book about it?
Well, it wasn't shocking. It was really good fun. That was what it was, because in the UK, sauna is like a little afterthought in the back of a gym. It's not somewhere, it would for me be somewhere I'd never go. I'd always go to the steam or swim for sure, but the sauna, no, because they're not nice saunas, really, generally speaking. And this was a proper sauna, and people were pouring steam on the rocks, and everyone was talking, and the aesthetic, it was the aesthetic as well that captured me in the beginning, because you were driving around Finland and seeing these incredible little huts, oxblood red painted little huts, and just a curl of smoke, and just thinking the romantic image of the sauna also captured me. Yeah. I didn't know what happened inside a sauna, really, properly, because I only knew from the UK.
Sure.
What my experience of a sauna in the UK was, below, not good, not up to the levels that you have. So
Emma, now that you're kind of in the know, what do you look for when you go to a new sauna, or when you go somewhere that might have a sauna?
I look for good ventilation, so that your skin doesn't feel like it's just sort of cracking. It's kind of, the circulation and cleanliness. also. And I think those are the main things, actually. Good ventilation and good hygiene. And if you can then have cold running water to clean off, I think those three.
Yeah, that's pretty basic. I like all those elements. I think everyone can agree that those are definitely on my top 10 list of things that I'd love to see. So, good ventilation, you got to have good air, you got to have, circulating that heat around the room. And nobody wants to sit in a dirty box. So yeah, I mean, those are definitely up on my list. So I like the simplicity of it. Emma, have you pretty much primarily been in like a traditional sauna setting with rocks and a stove and steam, or have you been in any other forms of heat therapy?
I've been in a smoke sauna in Estonia for many hours when we were doing the book over. It was a real experience. And I've also been in a sweat lodge. So I've been, yes, the sweat bathing thing and hammam, obviously, but that's probably not what you're thinking of. But
yes. It's all relative for sure.
Yeah. So those three, I mean, electric and wood fired, and obviously I prefer wood fired. And I can start to see the difference now.
You're among friends.
Yes, I know. Well, you're all experts, you see. I'm classic Brit in my sauna expertise. And I've been in infrared saunas too. Yes, so I think probably quite a range.
Sure.
What interests me a lot is that even though you said at the level that we are, but I consider we are recording this from basically all over the United States, and North American Sauna Society represents also Canada. And I know like people who in the British Sauna Society, and I feel that you guys are ahead of the game when it comes to proper sauna, and you're at the very core of everything when you talk about your experience at the gym sauna compared to that more fulfilling sauna. And now we are almost facing the impossible here, trying to explain how gym sauna, even how good that would be, is not the same experience as the real sauna. So I'm and we're going to talk about obviously your book and when it's going to be launched and everything about that. But I'm a little afraid that your book is a little bit of rocket science for many people, even though probably people who are going to buy it are going to be in the know. But like for general audience, because general audience are the gym people.
You mean that? Well, yes, it's quite different in a way. I mean, I think the book will appeal to people who like swimming as well as sauna, and for people who don't know anything about sauna. It's trying to sort of explain it from a very, I mean, in a way, one of the advantages I had when I did this book is that I didn't know anything about sauna. So it's starting from scratch and just going on this journey and going from not actually even really liking sauna that much to now being like you guys, really addicted and really loving it. And the feeling that you get in there is like nothing else. So it was a real journey of discovery for me. And I think a lot of people in the UK, and maybe from what you're saying in North America, are at the beginning of this journey. And if you can find, the challenge is getting people out of the gym into something else, because something else is hard to find. In the UK, that tends to be coastal areas on beaches. And but I think so many people I speak to here in the UK, when they have experienced even a wood-fired horse box sauna on a beach, they're like, wow, they've had their sauna epiphany, which is what everybody who's into sauna has a sauna epiphany, it seems. when you're like, oh wow, I get this, and this is something really amazing, and I feel so good doing this. And why have we never done this? Is what we all say. Why didn't we have this before? So
and it is a big hurdle. Like you said, it's interesting that you would have said, I'm not a sauna person beforehand, but now you really are. My wife was the same way. I liked them, and she was like, no, big, I'll pass. You go use it. I'm not interested. But people say, even a bad sauna is better than no sauna. But if someone experiences it and thinks that they don't like sauna and they go, that's not for me, then it's not better than no sauna. It is important that people use a good one.
Well, exactly. That's the thing. And also in the UK, there's a lot of the know-how is missing, of course. So even in the gym saunas, they're not kind of managing the sauna space in the correct way, or you can't pour water on the rocks, generally speaking, in the gym saunas here for a start. And then the kind of the way in Finland you sit on your towel and you put your feet also on the towel so that you don't leave any of sweat on the benches for other bathers is not something we do, really, because we don't know about that. But it makes total sense that further down the line people will start to do that as well, because it's all part of making the sauna experience much more enjoyable. And
so Emma, let me ask you this. Do you think anyone can go out there, and get a good experience if they're not going to maybe let's just say someone only has access to their little gym sauna. So, what do you think that, what are some options for them to maybe get into the know? Can they just go buy something on the internet and have a full, rich experience at home?
I think so, don't you? We didn't really write about home saunas, but I know a lot of people who do have amazing saunas at home. And you can, like you said, you can get good gym saunas. You can. And in the cities, the kind of urban, there's a few urban, like Hackney community baths where that's an urban sauna. And there's some of the cities that have water, obviously, Edinburgh and Brighton, they have a sauna scene. So it's doable, and it's starting to happen, I think. And my municipal swimming pool, which is an outdoor unheated community pool, they have a sauna on the side of the pool now.
Great.
So yeah. So I think if places like that, if public pools start to realize that people all want to come and use the sauna as well as swim, then maybe that's another way of building it more into the infrastructure of urban environments, which I think is sort of what you're getting at. It's not accessible for everyone here,
right?
Really, not yet.
Right.
It could be. It wouldn't be such a leap.
I'm absolutely. Sure it sounds like you guys are leaps and bounds ahead of where we're at. I would love to have even more than one option. If I want to go to a decent public sauna, it's probably, I'm looking at 2-hour drive from my house.
Really? Oh, wow. Gosh. Yeah.
So hopefully that will change though next year. I've heard some rumblings of something coming closer. So, but it is, I'm hoping everybody can be, within a 30-minute drive someday.
Yeah, that's your kind of end goal, 30-minute drive.
That would be wonderful. Yeah.
It's interesting. You are talking in your book about good, bad, and mediocre sauna experiences, and forward to your book was written by Mikkel, our friend Mikkel. And he said, like, I don't know if the 70s or 80s, he's been quoted a lot on this, but talking about American sounds, he goes like 90% of American sounds are bad and the remaining 10% are even worse. So I guess we are not there anymore, hopefully. So there's been a little progress somewhere. But before I forget, and I have to apologize, my Japanese is very rusty as we speak. But talking about this fulfilling sauna bathing experience that you are talking so much about in your book, the totonotta. I don't know if you pronounce it that way or not, but so tell us about a little bit that's this totonotta and how did that end up in your book?
Well, this book was requested by a Japanese agent, in fact, to my publisher, who said, sauna is huge in Japan. Have you got any writers that can do a sauna book? And that's how that happened. So that, and totonotta is such a fantastic word, which means that feeling that you get after a sauna that we have to use about 25 words to explain because we don't have a word for it yet. Maybe we need to invent one. And also the moment I was speaking to some Japanese sauna bathers in Finland, and they said that the moment it took off in Japan was when they were in community saunas allowed people to pour water on the rocks. And apparently once that happened, that was the gateway to so many people getting into sauna, which is also, I think, quite interesting because that happened in a community setting. So the steam was the pathway into this sauna craze that's huge in Japan.
Well, and steam can make up for a lot of deficiencies, you know, if your sauna's not hot enough, or you know, and you have good clean rocks, and a lot of them you can adjust the heat that way. So it's, you know, that is crucial. It's a shame when hotels and gyms you know, say no water on the rocks.
Yeah, I know, it's a real shame. And until you've really experienced that, when I was doing the book, we went to Rajaportti sauna, which is allegedly the oldest sauna in Finland, in Tampere, which is allegedly the sauna capital of the world. I think it probably is the sauna capital of the world, but and we had the guy who was doing who was the fire master there, gave the photographer and I a really, like a kind of workshop in steam, and sort of how it, you know, how we could feel it and how it moved around the space and the way that it changes your body, and the heat peaks and then the troughs, and all, it was really so well explained by him and so insightful that was a moment when I really sort of understood the steam process properly, I think.
That's interesting, Emma. So it sounds to me like you're blending kind of, you know, some technical aspects. You know, you get told, hey, this is what's happening, and now your body's kind of putting two and two together, saying, oh, I did feel that, I did witness that, or, you know, I experienced that. So it sounds like to kind of share maybe a good experience, you need a good mix of, hey, here's a little bit of technical data. I can't, you know, I don't want to bore you to death, but you need to also experience it in practice. You can't just read about sauna and get it.
No, exactly. It was like a kind of ritual, really, but a very simple ritual. Just sit here, I'm pouring it now. Can you feel it, you know, starting in your head, going into your ears, breathe it in, you can feel it going down your body. It was very, very simple and really effective, I found, for helping me feel and make the most of the experience and understand it more. Yeah.
Sure.
So now there's a lot of discussion about, you know, I'm sorry, I'm a one-trick pony. I'm coming back to the gym sauna experience. So it's just like, you know, most of the gym saunas are one round, you know, either unfortunately very often before the exercise, but like you say in their book, you like, it is at its best after the exercise, the gym sauna experience. But now what how many during the travel? So how much did you spend time inside these? Like I'm trying to find out, like, did you sauna bathe for 3 hours every time you went to a new sauna, or how were there a norm in the process?
Well, we had to produce the book quite quickly. And obviously when I was, it was quite funny because when we finished the book, we went for a proper sauna. Maya put the camera away, I put the notebook away. We were like, okay, we don't need to document this sauna. This is like our moment. But always when we were doing the book, Maya would have to get the camera out, get the lenses, put her camera in the sauna to acclimatize, bring it out again. Then she'd like strip off, go in. So she, and I think that for me, the first sauna interview we did was in Norway. And I think I lost my pen and I forgot to put record on my phone because my brain was so frazzled by the heat of the sauna. So the actual longest, most relaxing sauna we had was at the end of writing the book. And in fact, I'm going out to Finland next week because the book launches on the 14th and I'll happen to be in Helsinki for another job. And Maya and I are going to go to Kulttuuri Sauna, which we didn't have time to visit, which is the famous silent sauna in a beautiful, beautiful architecture and on a beautiful setting. And we're going to have a long celebratory sauna there, even though we won't be able to speak to each other. But that will be the kind of full stop at the end of it all, I think.
Wonderful.
In terms of the book. Yeah.
Now, I know you've just finished this book. It's just like just having a kid, you're not thinking about the next kid, but if someone were to offer you, another book project, what kind of things about sauna would you want to cover in that next book?
Oh, well, I'd love to do another sauna book about, well, whatever. If I was asked to write anything to do with sauna, I'd do it. But I think in the UK is a very exciting time here in terms of people are really hungry for knowledge about sauna culture and sauna. And in terms of tourism as well, people are starting to really like going to Scandinavia, Finland and Norway and all these countries that we didn't used to go to so much. But so there's loads to be written for the UK audiences about it, because nobody knows that much about it, really. It feels, I don't know how cold swimming is in the States, but whether that's a big thing. Is it?
Starting to,
yes. That's a huge thing here. Huge. Even Catherine, Will and as in Prince William and Catherine, she said there was a headline in the paper today saying how she loves wild swimming. So everybody has got into it. And I think where that with the cold comes the heat, and the two of them go together perfectly. And yes. So it seems like a natural next step that sauna would be next to these cold bodies of water.
It's interesting because I'm sorry, I was just going to say very fast. It's interesting because here, a big thing is cold plunges, but many people buy cold plunges without the hot element. So it is kind of sounds like kind of weird to me, but that is a thing right now here.
Right. And is that with the Wim Hof? Ice bathing, ice baths, all that.
Yes.
So is he quite big in the States now, Wim Hof?
Yeah, I would say, somewhat, at least somewhat.
It's a cult following for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess you have a lot of hot places where you probably people are not going to get into sauna, right? in the States.
That is that well that we need to do another show about this alone because many people feel that way, and it's kind of weird because it's like it's not the question about the outdoor temperature per se, because there's still the it's the contrast heat therapy that we are talking about. So whatever this outside heat level doesn't affect that thing, but that is one of the it's not a misconception. I wouldn't go that far, but it is kind of a thing. You're absolutely right.
Well, it's like a lot of women, middle-aged women are like, why do I want to go in the UK? Why would I go in a sauna and get hot when I'm hot already?
Yeah.
My body temperature has risen 3 degrees. I'm not the idea of a sauna, no way. I want to jump in a cold pool, not in a hot sauna. And again, like you've just said, well, it's the contrast therapy that's good for you at any stage in your life and whatever the outdoor temperature.
Correct.
That's immaterial, really. But it is a stumbling block, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There are many stumbling blocks. Trust me. This is one of them.
Yeah, one of the big ones, one of the big stumbling blocks, and I feel like we inherited it from you guys because the United States is kind of the child of the UK, but like the nakedness, how do you think that's gonna how is that gonna be received in the UK?
No, I don't think that's going to go down in the UK. And when I was a year ago now, I was at the Aufguss VM World Championships, which are happening now in Sauna in Berlin. And, that's the annual Aufguss Championship where sauna masters do these performances in huge event saunas, and everyone has to be naked in Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, lots of those Eastern European countries. It's compulsory to be naked in the sauna, and it was for the Aufguss competition. So we turned up, and me and my husband, this was, and we had to be naked in a sauna with 200 other naked people, which was also quite challenging. And there was a conversation that evening amongst all the countries and with the British Sauna Society and all the sauna societies from other countries. And they were talking about nudity and the Brits and how a British audience is going to feel about being naked for Aufguss. And I think they kind of, well, for a start, they were calling it the clothing free, the textile free sauna, rather than mentioning the word naked. And I think generally the agreement was that perhaps that wasn't going to be the way to get people into saunas in the UK. I just can't see that happening. And everyone here that I speak to can't see that happening either. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the younger generation will shake off those shackles of repression and go for it. I don't know.
It's kind of, this is obviously, we could talk all about this also in greater length, but me being the only Finn in this virtual room, it's kind of, I really don't, I can't say anything about the nakedness and the sexuality kind of a thing, but like, way back, I think I come from a culture when way back in the day, you had like one big sauna and basically the whole village went to that sauna once a week. And so there's absolutely no sexuality in a sauna that is filled with people from all over the place. And it kind of sticks. So you don't think about it when you don't think about it. But the first thought that comes to your mind about nakedness is going to screw the whole thing.
It's true, because I was really self-conscious in the beginning about having to be naked. And in Estonia, I had to go in a sauna, a mixed sauna naked. Or I didn't have to, but I would have been the prudish outlier if I hadn't. So I wasn't, and I was really self-conscious. But then over time, you don't, like you're saying, you don't care anymore. It's the least sexual environment you can think of.
Exactly.
It really is. and then it's actually really good to see lots of different bodies, different shapes and sizes. It's, you know, I think also for the younger ones who are this kind of social media images that everybody is fed all the time. If you go into a sauna, you see the reality of what people actually look like when we're all naked. It's healthy. It's a healthy mindset, I think.
Yeah. Show me someone in a sauna with perfect hair after
Well,
1 minute, or perfect makeup, or anything. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Emma. I can't, the one thing I can't stand about at least sauna in North America is it's heavily tied to social media and social media content. You know, when you're on Instagram and you're looking at saunas and there's a sauna way back here,
really?
and then it's some beautiful person. You know, this is nothing to do with sauna anymore. It is, you know, becoming sexualized. And I think that's perpetuates those stigmas of, you know, in my sauna, again, I'm at home, again, I'm going to be naked, but I would prefer to be naked in any sauna that I went to. But that's my personal, you know, attitude towards nudity. And I think so many people, if they don't know any better, they're scrolling through Facebook and they're seeing, you know, all these, you know, super, you know, attractive people in saunas with little to nothing on, you know, and it's not the real thing. And then when they do go see the real thing, and me and Herb, who's 93, are sitting on the top bench naked laughing, we are not in any social media picture of sauna.
And it's
and so I think that is something that I hope we all, you know, just kind of take with a grain of salt when we're out there on the social media.
I hope so, because actually the sauna is one of the last few tech-free zones.
Exactly.
It is a place where you can't take your phone. And actually lots of young bathers here in the UK, my son, for example, he's 23, he's really into sauna. And that's a reason that they all cite that reason of no phones, no social media. Well, like you're saying, though, the social media and actually lots of the new sauna operators work through Instagram posting on, so it's a platform for promotion. But inside the actual sauna, it's kind of sacred now that it's a tech-free zone. It really is.
The final bastion of hope.
Exactly. We just have to hope that they don't find a way of getting in there.
And they have. I mean, you can put up some plexiglass and I can put a Nintendo 64 in your sauna if I want, but please don't.
Actually, I went in a TV sauna in Norway.
That's
well, I didn't, because I didn't stay in there, because I sort of opened the door and laughed and thought, no, that's not for me.
So your book mentions that you're working on your own sauna build in your garden.
Yes, in Italy, in our garden in Italy.
Okay.
We're using Heartwood, which is a builder from Wales, and they use all local woods. And the guy, Ollie Davey, who founded Heartwood, now has a really long waiting list. We've had to wait nearly 2 years for our sauna because there's not so many. There are some now, but not so many sauna builders really. But it's a quick growth area. There's lots of young carpenters and designers who, and lots of architects who are building cabins and saunas and things for people. So that will be exciting because we have a lake at the bottom of the garden, so we can do hot and cold plunges. And both of us are cold swimmers. You know, I've been swimming in cold water for about 7 years now. So actually, when we did the book, I was fine with the cold part, but it was the sauna part that was. And Maya, the photographer, was fine with the sauna, but not really. She'd only literally, she'd go in the cold part, but then she'd jump out quickly. I think I was a bit mad for staying in as long as I did. But so that's exciting that we are getting our own sauna. It's going to be in cedar, beautifully designed, electric, unfortunately.
Okay.
Because we're not there all the time. and we might rent out the house as well. So it's difficult to have a wood-fired, I think, in that environment.
But it's tough everywhere nowadays, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, it's going to be your sauna, so it's going to be the it's wearing, but that's kind of the feeling you're going to get after you start using it. So I'm sure that you're going to be happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to change the topic a little. There in the US particularly, there's a direct line A to B between the health benefits and the sauna. And now there's a lot of different variations of the health, where the health benefits come from. But you mentioned your book something that is, and I hate to admit this, is quite close to my heart. You're talking about beer, vodka, sausage, and stories. And so I really, at the end of the day, remains to be seen if sauna had any health benefits in my case. But the beer and the stories and the sausage definitely go together. And there's not one sauna where I wouldn't have some kind of sausage at the fire pit. So where did you come up with this? Did you talk to the Finnish people or all of the people in Nordic countries, or where did that come from?
Oh, all of the people in Nordic. We had really good sausage in Norway and Finland, really vodka in Estonia, and beer everywhere. But also you say it wasn't good for your health having those things, but you could argue that those things are all really good for your mental health, because they put you in a really good frame of mind.
Correct.
I think when I first did that sauna in Finland, we were drinking in there, and that was for me all part of the fun. It was something really new that I'd never seen before, because that certainly would not be allowed in a gym sauna.
New.
So I guess the community side is really, really important as well, isn't it? For lots of people. That's a big part of the boom in the UK, in the horsebox saunas and the beach saunas.
Well, and I think that highlights an area of wellness that oftentimes gets overlooked is community. And who you surround yourself with and the activities that you participate in while you're with those other people. So they speak volumes as to, how you're going to turn out. My wife and I just recently watched a documentary about people who live to 100 years old and on, and some of the core things in their life have to be based around community or this group of people that they rely on. So, it's one thing to have my own sauna, but if I'm alone all the time using it, what kind of damage is that doing?
So what would you do if you didn't have your own sauna? Would you go to a community sauna?
I'd probably start cutting down trees and start building.
Build one.
I've now conceded the fact that I will never not own one.
No, well, in my local Lido, where the community is huge, the swimming community is huge already, and now the swimming and sauna community is also huge. Every weekend it's sold out all weekend, the sauna, and you can only book for an hour because it's so packed. You only get a wristband of a certain color, and then they come and get you out, so you're not allowed to sneak in and stay over your time limit. And everyone in there goes there for the community, pretty much. They know everybody. It gets so noisy sometimes. People all see their friends and swim together, and it's a really important part. That Lido and the sauna are really important for loads of people living in the neighborhood, because it's cheap to get in there. And during the pandemic, it was closed, and people were kind of crying out in the park outside, just saying, I don't know what I'm going to do without my swimming and my community in there. So I agree. I think it's really, really important aspect of it. Especially for the youngsters who are on their phones all the time.
100%
they want
agree.
this kind of live experience, face-to-face, real connection with someone. And in the sauna, it can be anyone. It can be a stranger. You can that's the nice thing as well. You can talk to total strangers about something really light, or you can go in there and have a really deep confessional chat with a best friend, or you can be in silence, or you can do a bit of silence and then suddenly the noise volume, it crescendos and then it goes quiet again. So there's all kinds of communication that happens in there, which I find that really, really interesting as well. When I'm observing that, I find that it's a really quite a unique space for that.
It really
feels
is.
like, yeah.
And it's always a unique experience. So you never know, and it's kind of, you know, you talk, you don't talk. It doesn't make a difference. It's it's up to you what you're gonna do, as long as you remember to have your beer, obviously. But that's
Obviously, yeah. My in-laws live in the north of England, and they go to they've got really into sauna in their gym sauna, and they know everyone in there now. And one of the guys had parked his car outside, and a traffic warden was coming to give him a ticket. And so one of the bathers jumped up and ran out in his trunks to go and get rid of the warden on behalf of the other one whose car it was. I think they're all looking out for each other. And that's what a community is. Yeah.
Of course. Hey, let's talk about we got some 10 minutes left, so let's talk a little bit about the you know, the criteria, because you're talking about like the impression I got from the book is that it's all about the experience. That's the sauna experience is there, and you have to work towards getting that experience. But now you rank kind of these saunas, you know, with overall experience, nature, off-beaten track, city sauna, ritual, community, best löyly, best view, sea, front, and unique experience. So just highlight a little, how did you end up with this criteria, and how did you end up with that list of saunas?
I think that's the magazine journalist in me doing a best of. And I think we wanted something that people could just quickly look at if they wanted to see maybe somewhere to go in Finland, or they could have a quick look through that best of and think, oh, I'd quite like to go there. And so they all fell naturally into that. It wasn't hard for Maya and I to make those, either the categories or the saunas to put into those categories. It was quite... they all kind of lent themselves quite easily to that. And I don't know, it's a way of making information more accessible, I guess.
We often talk about really humble, rustic saunas. You know, we've looked at some pictures on a previous episode of some saunas up in the UP in the United States, and they're known for being really kind of cobbled together, some of them, and backwoods saunas.
Oh,
are there any that you remember that were not maybe the Instagram sauna, but like more of a like really rustic, humble sauna that you loved?
We went to Jämsä Sauna Village in the kind of eastern lakes of Finland. You've probably all been there, and there was lots of the old, it's like a kind of museum, a sauna museum really. And it's a kind of charity that's been gathering all the old saunas from all over Finland and putting them in this one place. So they're all together, and they're renovating them and documenting them. And there are some really old underground saunas with just a grassy roof. And then the smoke saunas with no chimney. And those rustic kind of huts, or just a pile of bricks with some sort of shelter, are great. Yeah, I think, you know, we love those saunas in the same way that we love the beautiful architectural Instagrammable ones. There's so many to choose from. So you can also, that's the other thing, you can also find your style of sauna that you like best, you know, the kind of aesthetic that you like best. There's so many to choose from. And that we tried to get a wide range for the book. That was actually one of our main briefs, was to show a big variety of sauna types. And the type of experience you could get if you were to go to that kind of sauna. Because it's yeah.
I'm sorry, I was interrupting you. And there were about 50 saunas, right, altogether?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was 11 countries, but we didn't, that we write about. So like Japan, we didn't actually go to Japan, but yeah, about 50 saunas, and all of them, either one of us or both of us went to. That was also really important, that we tried and tested those saunas, because we didn't want to put anything in there that wasn't up, you know, that didn't, we knew that the sauna world, we know everybody in the sauna world has got very high standards about what is a good sauna. And Maya, being Finnish, knows that as well. She has a tent sauna. She has a sauna in her house. She's grown up with the sauna. So she knows what makes a good sauna.
Well, we've talked about the 90% bad saunas and the 10% terrible saunas here in North America. But I don't know if you've been here before, but if you do come here, there are some off the beaten path, some wonderful gems of saunas, especially in the Finnish communities.
I'd love to come and see them. I'd love to explore the American. That can't be right that there's just bad saunas there now. I mean, when I look on Instagram,
well,
I see a lot of really nice saunas.
It's mostly bad, but there are these pockets that have, you know, that have had really good saunas for a long time in the Finnish communities, or they're kind of having a resurgence of like community sauna practice.
Absolutely.
Is the sweat lodge thing big in the States?
Southwest.
Yeah.
I think you have to get like an you kind of have to get an invite. You really have to seek it out. It's not super common.
And really, we're talking about two different sweat lodges here. There's the corporate sweat lodge and the Native American sweat lodge. Those are two different things to our, you know, listening audience.
Because I spoke to an archaeologist about the Celtic sweat lodge, and the sweat lodge that I did was a Celtic ritual. So there was you know, we have, like you have with the Native American traditions, we do have our own traditions here in the UK. It's a small kind of foundation, but it was there. And I think so some of the people, especially in the British Sauna Society, want to kind of reinvigorate some of the indigenous practices that we had, which makes sense to do that, you know, rather than importing them from Mexico or America or wherever.
And that's a great point too, because I mean, the Midwest, you know, Upper Peninsula, Michigan, Northern Minnesota, that area, they have their own sauna traditions, you know, that do differentiate themselves from, you know, kind of the Finland group. I mean, you'll find in the UP a lot more people are, you know, putting showers inside, or they're actually going through the full sauna bathing ritual, actually cleaning themselves in that. But you know, it's fun to see, because, you know, I moved away from that, and now I'm kind of starting my own little sauna culture down here in the Southeast. And it's been fun, because now it's almost like a clean slate. I talk to people all the time around here. They're just starting to be on their radar. You know, it's just starting to get around. The cold plunges down here, though, people already know about. They've already been doing that because it's a warmer climate, and they're much more apt to say, "I'll get into a cold plunge when it's 100 degrees outside," not, "Hey, I'll get into a 200-degree room when it's 100 degrees outside."
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, but I suppose it's that if it's a hot climate and you go into a hot space, it's about something. It's about a transitional experience. It's a mental experience, isn't it? I suppose it's not connected in very simple ways about warming up at all. It's
right.
I was going to say that UP here, I don't know what we are talking about when we're talking about the UP. It's the Upper Peninsula. So That's an area, so we have to translate that to people who don't know. So Upper Peninsula in Minnesota, right, where
Michigan.
I'm sorry, Michigan, obviously,
Yeah.
where the Finns back in the day, way back in the day, moved first.
Well, yeah, and there's some areas up in the Upper Peninsula that are up to 50% of the people are Finnish descended. So it's kind of like a little Finland here in the US. And it's way off of the beaten path. Not many people make it there. You won't find much online, but they have wonderful saunas there.
Really? And do they do sauna festivals and everything there, like in Finland, or?
Not really festivals. It's mostly people just have it at their house or they have a camp in the woods, and it's surrounded by the Great Lakes, so there's tons of saunas
Lake
like
Superior,
right on the lake.
Yeah. There's a sauna festival here in the UK. They did the first one in February, and I can really imagine that it'll take off here. Going back to that social aspect of the sauna and getting people involved, sauna festival, it was a sellout event in Hackney Community Baths back in February. It was the Saunaverse, it's called, and they're planning now on doing it in other parts of the UK, which is a great idea. I can really see that would work.
I'm representing an organization called Finlandia Foundation, and we have our sauna week. We've done that twice now, and the next it's last week of February, which is going to be, so there's something similar is cooking, and then there's a lot of people getting together in different parts of the US particularly. So am I wrong, Emma, when I say that the kind of the common thing around this book, even with the city saunas, is nature? Is nature something big when it comes to sauna?
Yes, I think it is, but then for the book it was because we had access to nature. But when I think about my local sauna, for example, there's no nature. It's a paved, there's a swimming pool that's open air, so actually there's the sky, but it's paved, and there's a car park next to the pool. So it is on the edge of Hampstead Heath, but that aside, nature, for me, that plays a huge part in it. And when I was doing the research for the book, I was reading and talking to people about how, back in the day, saunas in Finland and Estonia, people would build their sauna in Estonia next to a pond or next to a beautiful tree, or nature played a big part in the location of the sauna as well. So that you could, because the connection between the fire and the water and that all is an experience of nature as well. And especially if you've got a forest outside or trees, then it makes that's the ultimate sauna, really, a sauna in nature.
I agree. So Emma O'Kelly, The Power of Heat, photography by Maija Astikainen. Where do we get that book from? And
so
when?
You can get that book from the 14th of September on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and some of the other retailers in the UK, Waterstones, WH Smith. But Amazon and in the US, Barnes and Noble are the two main places that you can get the book. So, and it'll be out on Thursday. 14th.
Awesome. Any final questions to Emma?
Emma, I would love to ask this, Emma. Did you use any accessories in your journeys, like sauna hats, Vitas? Was there any weird ladles, weird buckets, anything little ancillary that caught you off guard?
Well, when I first saw the sauna hats, I just thought they were hilarious. And that was in Hackney again, and they were some Lithuanian sauna hats. And then I now, like you were saying about your hair, I wear my sauna hat because the sauna doesn't work wonders on your hair. That's probably the only part of the body where it doesn't work its magic. so sauna hats and beautiful, yeah, I mean, in Finland there are some beautiful companies making lovely sauna towels and ladles and buckets and all the soaps and the birch washes and everything, and as well as the tar soap, and then the actual whisks. Yes, I love the whisks. I obviously didn't know what to do at all with the whisks when I first saw one of those in Estonia, and I got shouted at by a scary attendant in the female sauna, and because I picked up someone's whisk and started using it on myself.
No.
Yeah, no. You should have bought your own whisk. And I'm like, where from? And they happened to have been in the lobby, and I'd walked right past them.
Sure.
They were like €3, and I just totally missed it. But so yes.
No, wonderful. Thank you so much, Emma. Risto, any final thoughts?
No, this has been great. We'll have to have you back on one of these days. I'd love to hear more about those little stories about picking up that whisk, things that didn't make it into the book. Sauna adventures are always full of wild stories.
They really are. It's so much fun going on a sauna adventure. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show.